All right, let's talk about a technology that has completely changed how we see our own planet. We're diving into remote sensing, or how we see Earth from space.
Okay, let me ask you something. What if you could check the health of every single forest on Earth all at once without even getting up from your chair? Sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? Well, that's pretty much the everyday reality of remote sensing.
And that's really the core idea here. Remote sensing is the science and, I'd even call it an art of seeing without touching. It's all about measuring the energy. Think of it as light or heat that an object reflects or gives off. Whether that object is a forest, an ocean, or a city, we can learn about it from way up high. This lets us cover these huge areas super quickly, over and over again. I mean, there's just no way you could do that from the ground.
So, how does this whole thing actually work? Well, to get a handle on it, let's follow the journey of a single packet of light, a photon. We're going to trace its story all the way from the sun right down to your screen.
It's basically a 6-step chain of events. First, you got to have an energy source, right? And usually that's the sun. That energy travels through our atmosphere where, it can get scattered around or absorbed. Then, bam, it hits a target on the ground, let's say a field of corn. That corn reflects some of that energy back up towards space, and that's where a sensor on a satellite comes in to record it. From there, the satellite beams that raw data down to a ground station where it gets processed into the awesome images and data we can actually use. You can see how every single link in that chain is absolutely essential to get the final picture.
Okay, so not all sensors see in the same way. There are really two main approaches, and a fantastic way to wrap your head around it is to think about the difference between your own eye and a flashlight.
So on one side, you've got passive sensing. This is just like your eyes. These sensors depend on an external light source. You guessed it, the sun. They detect the sunlight that bounces off the Earth. Simple enough. But what happens at night or when it's super cloudy? That's where active sensing is a total game changer. This is more like a bad sonar or the flash on your camera. The sensor actually sends out its own pulse of energy, like radar, and then it measures what bounces back. And this is brilliant because it means active sensors can work anytime, day or night, and some can even see right through clouds. Pretty cool, huh?
And this technology isn't some newfangled thing. Actually, its long history is exactly what makes it so powerful. It's given us this unbelievable multi-decade time-lapse of our entire planet.
Believe it or not, the idea goes all the way back to 1858. The first aerial photo was taken from a hot air balloon over Paris. But yeah, the real game changer was satellites. In 1960, we got the first successful weather satellite. And then 1972, that was a huge year. That's when Landsat-1 launched, and it basically kicked out this whole new era of continuously watching over Earth's resources for everybody. And that trend has just taken off, especially when Europe's Sentinel program came along in 2014 and started making massive amounts of this data totally free and open for anyone to use.
And that launch back in '72, it led to something truly incredible. We now have, get this, over 50 years of continuous data, just from the Landsat program alone. This archive is seriously one of the most valuable scientific data sets humanity has ever created. It literally lets us watch decades of change happen right before our eyes.
So, what do we do with all that data? Well, for one, we can build what is basically a long-term health record for our planet. That 50-year archive, it lets scientists measure exactly how fast glaciers are retreating and watch the polar ice sheets change year after year.
It's also become absolutely essential for, feeding the world. Farmers and governments use this data to check on crop health across millions of acres, figure out what kind of crops are growing where, and even predict future harvests. All of that is super critical for global food security. And when a crisis hits, this stuff can literally be a lifesaver. When disasters like floods or wildfires happen, these images give us a near-instant map of the damage. This lets emergency responders see exactly which areas are hit the hardest and helps them guide rescue teams on the ground way more effectively.
But here's the thing. Not all satellites see the world the same way. To really understand the differences, imagine every satellite has 4 special dials that control its vision. We call these its resolutions.
First up, we have spatial resolution. This is pretty straightforward. It's just the size of 1 pixel on the ground. A high-resolution satellite might have pixels that are just a meter across, small enough that you can clearly see a car. On the flip side, a low-resolution one might have pixels a kilometer wide, where you can only really make out an entire city block.
Now, this leads to something called the mixed pixel problem. If your pixel is too big and it lands right on the border between, say, a forest and a farm field, the sensor just records this confusing, blurry average of both. So, higher spatial resolution is the key to telling those two things apart.
Okay, next dial, spectral resolution. This one is all about color. Now, our eyes see in 3 basic bands, red, green, and blue. But some of these satellites, they can see in hundreds of bands. The more of these narrow color bands a sensor has, the better it is at spotting subtle differences, like telling a healthy pine tree from a sick one or one type of rock from another.
The third dial is temporal resolution. And this one just asks a simple question. How often does the satellite come back to look at the exact same spot? If you're trying to monitor something that changes really fast, like a flood, you need a high temporal resolution. Maybe it revisits every single day. But if you're tracking something slow, like a city expanding, a visit every couple of weeks might be totally fine.
And last but not least, we have radiometric resolution. A good way to think about this one is as the number of shades of gray the sensor can see between pure black and pure white. A sensor with low radiometric resolution might see, 256 shades, but a high-res one can see over 65,000. This incredible sensitivity lets it pick up on really subtle changes, like slight differences in water quality or the health of vegetation.
So here's the crucial takeaway from all this. There are always trade-offs. You can't have a satellite with razor-sharp detail that also sees a million colors, revisits a spot every minute, and detects the absolute faintest changes all at the same time. It's just not possible. And that really highlights a fundamental truth here. No single satellite can see everything perfectly. Each one is a specialist, designed with its own unique lens to answer a very specific question about our world. And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. As we keep designing more and more of these specialized satellites, what once unanswerable questions about our planet will we finally be able to ask?